Welcome to Sunday Sips with the Scribbler set. I'm Dee, and today I am feeling introspective, actually.
I'm C and I'm feeling pretty good. Hopeful.
I'm B and I am feeling excited.
It's Sunday Sips. So what are you guys sipping on? I have my cute mug, guys.
I love that. That is
Look.
adorable.
Someone said that it looked kind of phallic, and I was offended because they're mushrooms, clearly. But
I didn't even see that, but now that you said it,
yeah, I was like, look at my cute mug. And they're like, those look like, and I was just like, come on. And I am sipping some yogi tea, and it says, celebrate your successes and failures, both required great courage. So,
I am sipping on some stress ease tea, and my little cup has a fairy lounging on a little couch
oh,
situation.
get cute.
Yes.
I just have some coffee, and my mug was given to me by Jude for my birthday.
Aw,
That's so
And
cute.
Disney.
that's
I'm
very
also having a
cute.
little snack.
Nice.
Berries.
Mm, yummy, yummy. So this week we are talking about something that is, very important to us as a group that we wanted to shed light on. It's Suicide Prevention Week, National Suicide Prevention Week, which goes from September 8th through the 14th this year. And it's a week that is, I don't want to say celebrated, but that is held in the United States, and its purpose is to educate people and to help remove the stigma of like depression and mental health and just suicide, and to encourage people to pursue mental health guidance and help when they are feeling those feelings. And it was something that we as a group wanted to highlight for different reasons, I believe, individually. But we thought that it was important that we talked about this. And that's why what we're doing today. So for me, I guess or if anybody else wants to start, like why it was important to talk about this is because it's something that I feel like the stigma, like it's embarrassing or like shameful to talk about these things. And I'll open up, and I'm going to be very honest, like I have struggled with depression pretty much my entire life. And I've had suicidal ideation. I had a very dark period about 12 years ago. um I really thought I didn't want to be here anymore and was actively trying to come up with plans for how to do it. Um, and it was through getting counseling and finding a safe place to talk about what I was feeling that I was able to start the healing process. And I still, like, depression is still there, but I no longer think or feel like my life doesn't have value. Um, so I know there's a lot of people that struggle with these kinds of feelings and maybe don't talk about them. So that's why I want to be, for myself, open about it in this discussion. Because it's not anything to be ashamed of, guys. So yeah, that's why it was important to me. I want to encourage people, like like I said, 12 years now outside of being in the darkest place of my life, and it does get better. So that's my encouragements or thoughts of why I wanted to talk about this. What about you guys?
For me, it was important because, like Deetra, I struggle with depression. I've struggled with depression my whole life as well, and it's been on numerous occasions where I have gotten to a low point to where I felt like I didn't want to be here anymore. And the reason why, like, I don't want to seem like I'm too cheery or whatever or excited. But for me, it's exciting to be able to talk about it because for so long, like when you suffer by yourself, it's like you feel like there's no ending to it. And for there to be so much awareness and so many people who are coming out and sharing their struggles, and like for me that really opened a door for me, saying like I'm not the only one, you know, I'm not the only one, and that there is help. Because sometimes when you get to that spot in your mind where it's that's the only way that you see as a way out, you kind of feel like you're all alone, and you know, no one can understand you. And one of the biggest things that really helped me like get out of that mindset was knowing that I wasn't in it alone, you know. So, and that there's always help out there. There's somebody who's willing to help. Like I'm very passionate about mental health because of my struggles and about the struggles of people that I care about. And like I think it's great that we're opening up and making it more known that people struggle with this.
I think for me, the reason that I really wanted us to do this is because we, you know, we're the Scribbler set and we're supporting of the writing community. We are in the writing community, and just like creatives in general, I feel like tend to there seems I don't know the statistics. I could just be talking trash, but it seems like there does seem to be more prevalent cases of depression and suicide and suicidal ideation and self-harm, things like that. And one of the ways that I know probably many of us in the writing community help to get that out is by writing it out. And so for me personally, since we're, you know, I don't think I've never had like a plan. I've never been like, you know, but I do feel like I have always like not anymore, but in my younger years, I always kind of punished myself for being alive. Like, Deidre and Brittany actually probably know this. Like, I always had this idea in my head that my family would have been happier if I hadn't been born. So I never really like thought, oh. I never really thought of like killing myself, but I did like punish myself for just existing in general. And I think like just like some things happen in like childhood, and then there's like some survival guilt from things that happen, and like that carries on, and you're like like I don't know, like just that, I guess that feeling of being like a waste of space. And that to me led to like self-harm and things like that, which manifested. But and honestly, being in some really crappy relationships didn't help that. But now I do think like I have found a version of myself that knows like even like if for nothing more, my kids existing, like me existing was necessary. Like I the motherhood has been the number one most beautiful, amazing, life-altering thing in my life that I never thought I would have. I used to tell my mom, she'll probably, if she watches this, will laugh because I would tell her like, I would use like, I used to think like, oh, like a baby in your tummy, that's like a parasite. It's disgusting. Like I was like, I would never, I didn't like, I just couldn't imagine myself as a mom. I couldn't like, I just couldn't see it. But then now that I am, it's like I couldn't imagine myself not being a mom. And I, you know, I have my two biological kids, but I want to eventually get to the point where we can open our home, be foster parents, adopt, and be a safe place, a safe, like even for my kids' friends, like if they need someone to talk to when they're struggling, things like that. So the more I grow, and like I think that's the important part that I want to highlight is like there is an after. Right now, you might be in the thick of it, and you might think that there's nothing better for you, but then there is. And there's this life you can create that's just yours, and it's beautiful and worth seeing, and it's worth meeting that future version of yourself, I think. So, yeah. That's me.
Yeah, I think the it's such a final decision. Um it's permanent. It's not, there's no going back from that choice. And that's why I just like, I feel it's important to talk about, because like, you know, some people are in places where they feel like this is the only option, and there are other options. Like I said, I have been there. Like driving in a car was a dangerous thing for me. Like I would be driving in the car and just like, maybe I could just drive into this tree, or maybe I could drive off this overpass. Only thing that, like, there was several a few things that stopped me was, one, I didn't want to hurt anybody else, and then two, like, because I had thought about like maybe I could take some pills, or I could, like, not to talk about like ways that you could do it, but like I'd come up with all these different ways, but I didn't want anybody that I knew or loved to find me. So those were the cogs in the wheel that I mentally put in place to like stop myself. um and I think it was they were real reasons, but they were also like, at the depth of me, some part of me that was trying to preserve myself.
Mhm.
So even if you're having like those kinds of thoughts, there's a part of you that still wants to be here. There's a part of you that doesn't want that this to be the end. And so like, you know, fight, like find help. There's help everywhere. There's the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and we'll show the number you can call or text 988. Text 988, or you can text talk to 741-741. And there are professionals and people there that are ready to talk to you, because I know sometimes like a thing that you feel is very alone in your feelings, and very much like I wouldn't call my sister to talk about it, how I was feeling when I was feeling the way I was feeling, even though she's a person, one of the closest people to me. I wouldn't have called her about it. So sometimes it helps to have an outside person that you can talk to. So I definitely recommend trying that. If, and I know like sometimes financially, it can be daunting, like thinking about getting mental health. There are getting mental health help. I can't finish that sentence. And that like sticker shock can scare you, but there are lots of free resources, which we'll share with you guys, that you can utilize to get help. Because again, it's such a final and permanent decision. And your life does have value. Like Shantae said, if the me back then could meet the me now, I feel like she would be, okay, wow, we get it together. We start to figure things out. It's gonna be okay. And I could have let that be the end of my story when I was at my lowest point. And I don't know, that just kind of makes me sad. Like that would have been like a really sucky end to my story, is like, well, she never did anything she said she wanted to do. She was, you know, alone. She was depressed, and that would have been the end of my story. And I'm glad that, you know, there I was able to find that help, because that didn't wind up being the end. And there's still, even now, more that I can look forward to with what's to come.
And let me just say, not only the end of your story, but a change in someone else's story. someone in your life that is being left behind. Like, I could not imagine the betrayal I would feel if either of these two bitches were to do that. Like, when I tell you I would find out how to reverse haunt a mother trucker, like, I don't know how you do that, but like the just being left behind. No, I'm serious. I would be furious. The like that, like it's like the end of your story, and then like there's so many people in your life, probably people you're not even thinking of that don't jump into your head right away, that would be forever changed by that decision of you. People that might make that decision because of you making that decision. Like the ripple effect and the pain that gets, the trail of pain that gets left behind because of the loss of your life. And you might be at this point because you think your life is worthless. But why don't you ask the people around you if they feel that way? Your life, if you are making that choice when there is still so much life to live, your life matters. And we hope you stick around, and we love you. And please listen to the resources that Deidre has put forth for you. And if you even just need to reach out to us and we will help you find resources, we'll do the research for you because maybe it feels overwhelming to find that out for yourself. We will do that.
Or just to chat. Like,
yeah,
I'm not against just sitting there listening to someone tell me their story, or even, just to hear them. Like for me, in some of my darkest times, like I just needed somebody to hear me, and I would spill my guts out and say like why I felt like I didn't I didn't want to be here anymore. And like, I'm sorry to get emotional.
that's okay.
But like,
it's an emotional topic.
I've had moments, and even as recently as last year, where it was just like, it would just be so much easier to be done. And these women like literally sat there and listened to me and talked me out of it, and just heard my struggle. And sometimes that was all I needed, was just to get it out, and to hear that they care about me.
And I encourage other people, if you're listening, to be that person too. Like, I do not let people in my life go incognito for too long. Because, like, I understand, like, sometimes my anxiety will be like, please do not text me, don't call me, don't do this. But there's a time limit. I will start hunting you down. After a couple days, I'm like,
yeah,
this is getting unacceptable. I'm gonna start harassing
each other. Like, I called her like 10 times in a row, and then I was like, text. And
it's just like, hey, are you good? Do you need someone to talk to? So if you can be that friend too, like if you notice your friend has kind of gone AWOL a little bit or just not seeming the same, reach out, be there, show up. Force yourself in sometimes because they're gonna be like, oh no.
And I would say, just in talking about this, because I know there's some people that don't have anybody in their life surrounding in their immediate circle, or that they see that could be a support to them. Some people are in really negative and dark situations with the people around them, but that's why I just really want to encourage you. There are resources out there for you, and there are billions of other people on this planet, and there are people that care about you. There are people that will fight with you
about you
and will fight with you and fight for you. And so don't let this sphere that's around you define what your view of the world is. And I know it's so hard sometimes to see past all of the things that are in front of you, because they seem so daunting and so heavy and so, forceful sometimes. But there is a way out. And I know sometimes you're tired, and the idea of having to fight for yourself or even do anything can be feel like almost too much. And if you're at that place, I really, really want to encourage you, please call one of these numbers, text, and just let somebody talk to you. Like, don't succumb to that low feeling where you're at. And
Don't let
I
it
know that feeling of being so tired, like where it just like everything feels like too difficult. Like even just like getting up to get a drink of water because you know you're thirsty. Like I've been in places like at a place where I'm like so depressed, like I will sit and lay there and be dehydrated, and like the sink is right over there and I'm like I'm just so thirsty, and it's like I can't make myself get up to go get a drink of water.
And that could be your first
So
step to fighting for yourself.
exactly,
Get
and
up
that's
and get that
sometimes what I
water
have to do. And
once.
since going through, and I highly encourage like getting a mental health professional, someone you can speak um, to go through counseling or therapy. And even sometimes you might need medication. Like it's okay. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in saying you need help. And it's like, I'm sick of the stigma, like where it's not treated like it's an illness.
Would
And if
you shame
somebody
a cancer patient for getting
exactly
chemo? No, you wouldn't.
exactly. So if somebody is like struggling with their mental health and they need some medication to help them to be able to cope and process and get through life, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. And speaking to someone for me was so helpful, and going through those steps and like having that accountability weekly, and just being able to talk through things and really getting into the heart of some things that I didn't even realize were affecting me the way that they were, because like it's so powerful and it's so helpful, and it really has changed how I deal with when I start to feel that depression coming on, because it does hit, like especially like now with the seasons changing, like I get that seasonal depression and it hits my ass hard. Like I have to fight to like get through. Like I love the fall, I like the winter, but it's just something about it. Like I just suddenly hit like a depressive mode. So, but I've learned different tools and techniques to help me continue to move. And like Shawnee said, like sometimes it's just taking that first small step of getting up and drinking a glass of water, or getting up and taking a shower, putting on some makeup, brush my hair, like because we
People
are
don't understand how that can change like your mood. When I was in some of my darkest spaces, like I wouldn't even get dressed, I wouldn't do anything. But one day I just pushed myself out and was like, you know what, I'm gonna get dressed. And I wasn't going anywhere but to Walmart, but I got dolled up and my mood increased so much, because it was like finally I can see the person that's been like locked in this cage for such a long time, and like it kind of like broke her out for a while. So it was, it's good to do all of those things. Those are great steps.
and it's like saying you're valuable, right?
Yeah.
Like you're worth doing those things, you're worth taking care of. If no one else and nothing else in this world is showing you love, you have to show yourself love. And it's hard sometimes, because like sometimes you don't even see what is worth loving in yourself. But if we have an idea of what we think love is, even if it's just like I wish someone would care for me. Care for yourself. Like take those small steps to just care for yourself. So yeah. Were you saying something?
This is like my last thing. I just want to reiterate, please check on your people. And it's happening younger and younger. I'm not gonna get into like the news lately, but younger and younger, it's happening where children are taking their lives. Check on your people. Reach in. When they can't fight for themselves, fight for them.
Check on your kids. Like I 100%, and I know people like to like think about mental health as, oh, you're doing this on your own, it's selfish or whatever, but it's also hereditary. So you have to think about like the things that you're going through, your kids might be going through. And I always am like trying to open that door, like, let's talk, like, how are you feeling, And you'll be shocked at some of the things that they say. You would think that an 8-year-old or a 7-year-old is too young to think like that, and they're not. Like, my first thoughts of anything depression and suicide wise happened when I was 9. And I didn't know what to do with it. So always check. Always.
Yeah, I'm like actually looking at some statistics, and I think I won't go into like numbers and things like that, but we'll share links for if you want to read some articles or learn some more about how you can support, because it's not like Shantae said, it's for people that are in this place where they're feeling that way, and also for the people that care and want to be a support for others. So we'll be sharing some information for everyone. But it is, I think we live in a world where everything is even more detached, like that connection. It's beautiful because, we're able to like FaceTime with each other. Like we don't live like next door to each other. And so like we do have ways to make connection, but a lot of people feel very isolated. And when you don't have that human interaction, because like more people are working from home, more people, are like, especially like on video games, or you stay home and you watch Netflix, or you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of dissociation and disconnection that's happened because of like the technology, that even like getting our groceries delivered, right? Like you don't have to leave your house if you don't want to. Like that's something I struggle with myself. I'm like, girl, go to the grocery store, because like I will order Instacart in a second. Like, and being single, like I'll go out to eat by myself, but I'm like, why should I? I could just order Grubhub and get the food brought to me, and I don't gotta go sit by myself. But like sometimes we have to push ourselves to go out and like start interacting with people, because I think like that's like a big part or of why, because like looking at these numbers, like it's just increasing, and I think like that's a huge part of it. So like make it a point to connect with people, and safe people. Like if there's somebody that's like bad for your mental health, nothing wrong with cutting them off. Like you don't have to have them in your life. And sometimes it's hard to do that, but just gotta chop, 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 chop. So we'll share a lot of resources. At the end, my last thing is just like, you're not alone. Like you're not alone, and there's more to your story. Like this isn't the end. Like if you keep pushing, like it'll just be a blip in your story, and something that can make you stronger, like as a person, more empathetic, more sure of yourself. Because like when you've gone through like those darkest points and you've been able to get through it, then you can look at yourself and you're like, damn, I actually am strong, because I was like beat down, and now I'm doing what I said I wanted to do. So like, or so I just encourage you, like, don't let that be the end of your story. And you guys, you're not alone. Like if you, like they said, if you guys message us, like we'll chat with you. Like I'm here, like I have a listening ear. I'm not a mental health professional, so I will point you in directions where you can get that help, that solid help. But for people that love and care for you, I love you. I care about you. I think you're important. I think your life is valuable, and keep fighting. So I think that is all that we have for today. In honor of National Suicide Prevention Month, maybe call somebody that you haven't talked to in a while. See how they're doing. Check in on your friends and your family. And maybe if you're not feeling great yourself, call one of these resources that we're providing for you, or check them out online, and take that step to take care of yourself. All right, guys, we love you, and we'll see you next time.
bye.